What's going on, Minties? The Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and today this is my part 3 of my Most Wanted DC Omnibuses. This is my list, and this is also the final part. This will go from number 10 to number 1. I'd love to know what you guys would have added now. If you haven't seen the first 2 videos, you can click on the link, or just look through the description of the video, or you should be subscribed to our channel, right? But this is my list, and I would love to know what you all would have made in your top 30. What I'll also do is I'll share this on our Facebook and Instagram. But if you don't have either of those or social media, please leave those comments down below. So, without further ado, stay tuned. And welcome back, Minties. Now, before I get started, again, this is my list. It's all subjective. What you guys probably have on your list is a lot different than mine. Or maybe we share a lot of the same things in common. So that's really cool. This was really difficult. I probably should have done a top 100 list. Because like I said, for some reason, DC doesn't have as much as Marvel. But before we get started, I do want to say a quick word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And check this out, Minties. Cheap Graphic Novels is currently running a special promotion. Let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive credit for free shipping on your next order. And that is only available for the US. So keep an eye on the channel for other promotions from them and discount codes available. Okay, so let's kick it off with number 10. The Question by Dennis O'Neil. Now, this is one that I know you all were asking, hey, how did this not make it in your top 30? It did. It's my number 10. I love this. Why don't we have Vic Sage in omnibus format? This would literally just take one omnibus. So what I would collect is the Question 1 through 36, Annual 1 and 2, the Question Quarterly 1 through 5, and I would even throw in the Question, the later series, Volume 2, 1 through 6, which wasn't by Dennis O'Neil, but it was Rick Veit. Veit? I think that was his name. But yes, kicking it off with the Question. Number 9, Wonder Woman by William Messner Loebs. Now, this is a series that means a lot to me because this is kind of right after the run with George Perez, and we had a couple others in between, but then for some reason this is the one that spoke to me, that I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I really like Wonder Woman. And it doesn't get talked about very often. As a matter of fact, it took forever to get 2 collections, and that was mainly because of the artist Mike Deodato Jr. But what I would collect in here is Wonder Woman 63 to 100. I know, some of those issues were not written by him. Number 0, Annual number 3, Special number 1, Legends of the DC Universe 4 and 5, the Wonder Woman stories, and Artemis Requiem 1 through 6. And I realized it was Christopher Priest wrote 88 and 89, but come on, completist, right? I have to have this. Like I said, this is one of the greatest and most underrated runs on Wonder Woman. And then you also have art by Mike Deodato Jr., and just look at those covers by Brian Boland. It's just beautiful. And for God's sakes, we have the first appearance of Artemis, who still plays a role in the DC Rebirth universe. So, what they could do with this, because I know William Messner Loebs has had some really rough times. As a matter of fact, I think he was homeless for a while. So, donate some of the earnings from this book to him. I think he's well earned it. I know he also did a run on Flash, but this is the one that I chose. Number 8. This is going to be another one that are a huge mapping on it. And a lot of Omnis, but I don't care. It's daydreaming, right? Green Lantern Corps by Gibbons, Tomasi, Gleason, and all kinds of other talent that went into this. So this is the series that was the sister series to the Green Lantern by Jeff Johns. Of course, that was all focusing on Hal. This focused on pretty much everybody else. So kind of riding off of that Kyle Rayner Omnis that I made last time. This will collect Green Lantern Recharge 1 through 6. Green Lantern Corps 1 through 47. I know Tony Bedard came afterwards, but let's face it, Emerald Warriors is where it continues, so I would collect Emerald Warriors 1 through 13. Green Lantern 21 through 25, which is part of the Sinestro Corps. So speaking of Sinestro Corps, of course, collect the Sinestro Corps Special. Ion 1 through 12, because that's important. I think it's very important. That's the story of Kyle and what happens to him. The Parallax Special, the Ion Special from Sinestro Corps, the Cyborg Superman Special, and then the Sinestro Corps Files and Origins. We've seen this crossover collected before, but I think it belongs in here as well. And we don't have the Parallax, or no, the Ion Special collected anywhere in oversized format. Shame on you, DC. Also collecting Blue Beetle number 20, DC Universe 0, Final Crisis Rage of the Red Lanterns, Blackest Night, again, collected, but I think it's important, 0 through 8. And I know that Sterling Gates wrote a couple of those Alpha Lantern books, but, you know, if I had left those out, you guys would have rioted. Yeah, in this made-believe world, right? Now, would you guys also include Green Lantern Rebirth, the Hal Jordan Rebirth storyline 1 through 6 in here? Let me know in the comments, because I thought about putting it in there, because it kind of makes sense. That's where the Recharge story first came in. Look, I'm thinking about it like I'm actually working at the damn DC Collected Editions department. Okay, moving on to number 7, Batman, Contagion and Legacy. Yes, in a perfect world, Batman from year 1 until, you know, Flashpoint. Right? All collected in this wonderful format of omnibuses. In a perfect world. But let's start with storylines. That's why I went with No Man's Land last time. And that's why I'm going with Contagion and Legacy. I absolutely love this series. Let's talk about what it collects first. Collecting Azrael 15 through 16, Batman 529 through 534, Batman Chronicles, Batman Shadow of the Bat 48 through 54, Catwoman 31 through 36, Detective Comics 695 to 702, Robin 27 through 33, Batman Bane number 1, and Batman Bane of the Demon 1 through 4. This has the return of one of my most favorite villains of all time in the Batman lore. And, you know, it starts off with this disease that's spreading through Gotham like a horror story, and then ends up with the return of the character that was the villain that I was talking about, that was at fault for doing all this in Gotham. Oh, it's so awesome. It's great. How is this not collected in an omnibus format? We have all these wonderful Batman stories. But anyway, at least we have trade paperbacks, right? And a guy can dream. Number 6, one that pulls at my heartstrings every time I read that. Ending! Hitman by Garth Ennis. That's right, I fooled you guys. Preacher is not on this list, but definitely on my honorable mentions, of course. But no, Hitman by Garth Ennis. Collecting the Demon, annual number 2, Batman Chronicles 4, Hitman 1 through 60, annual number 1, Hitman 1 Million, Hitman and Lobo, that stupid Bastich, JLA Hitman 1 and 2, and a story from Superman 80, the 80-page giant, number 1. It's the story of Tommy Monaghan, and how he's just a Gulf War veteran turned into a contract killer going after metahumans or supernatural threats. I mean, it's John McCrea on art and Garth Ennis. I mean, that should be enough to give us 2 Omnis. But yes. Now, before I get to my final 5, I want to remind you all to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the notifications button. Again, I don't know why the hell I'm pointing. Also, check out our Redbubble for stickers from Year and Condition and t-shirts. Check us out. Number 5, Flash by Mark Waid. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yes. Please. We're finally getting some trade paperbacks, hopefully not canceled. By collecting Flash 0, 60 through 62... 60 through... Damn. Omar. I can't go on through a damn episode without mispronouncing something. 62 through 129. Stay with me here. Then going from 142 to 163. I'll explain here in a second. The 1 million issue, and then annuals 4 through 8. And yes, even the Elseworld number 7. If I didn't include that, I don't want people coming after me in this made-up belief world where I'm in charge of the DC Collected Editions department. Impulse 10 through 11. The Flash Special number 1. Flash TV Special, the 80-page giant, Green Lantern 30, 31, and 40, Justice League International Quarterly number 10. Now, the reason I skipped 130 to 141 is because that's the Mark Miller and Grant Morrison run, and I don't think it fits in right here, because I think these stories can still be enjoyed without those particular stories. It's not because I'm a Mark Miller hater, but, you know, I don't know, would you guys plug them in? If you've read them, I don't think it would read well with those in there, but, you know, I'm also not in charge of this department. Now, also including the Green Lantern and the Flash Faster Friends, Flash plus Nightwing 1, Showcase 96 number 12, and a story from DC Universe, Holiday Bash number 1. Also, Speed Force #1, Flash Secret Files Origins #1 and 2, and that's what I would collect in this huge made-up omnibuses collected, like, probably 4 or 5, whatever. I want them. Probably more like 3 or 4, honestly. Number 4, you've seen this in my comprehensive reading order, and that is Secret 6 by Gail Simone. You knew I was going to talk about it. One of my most favorite series of all time that could be collected just in one Omni. So collecting Villains United 1 through 6, where the story kicked off. Villains United Infinite Crisis Special #1. And I realized we probably need some kind of synopsis as to what happened in Infinite Crisis. So page of that will be fine. The Secret 6 1 through 6 miniseries. Birds of Prey 104 to 108. Secret 6 1 through 36, that's the ongoing series, the first volume of that. Suicide Squad 67, Action Comics 698, Doom Patrol #19, and then Secret 6 1 through 14 of the New 52 series. Not as good, probably not needed, but as a completist, I gotta have it in there. And now, we are down to our final 3. This is, again, my list, so don't kill me. This is what I find needing in the DC universe. Aquaman by Peter David. Oh my god, what I would love to have this. And then I got cock-teased by them when they started releasing the freaking trade paperbacks, only to get canceled at Volume 3. But I'm hoping that means that, hey, wait, maybe we should sell some Omnis instead of these trades that aren't selling that well. Maybe. Collecting Atlantis Chronicles 1 through 7, Aquaman Time and Tide 1 through 4, Aquaman, the ongoing series, 0 through 49. And I'll explain here in a second. Annuals 1 through 4 and the 1 millionth issue. I threw in 47 and 49 in the 1 millionth issue, the DC 1 million Aquaman, because I know that Peter David didn't really get to wrap up a lot of his loose ends in his stories. So I threw the books in there that Andy Lanning and Dan Abnett did to wrap up a lot of his ongoing plots. Of course, they also didn't get to finish. Eric Larson came in, but that's another story. So that's number 3. Number 2, JLA. Every single one of those. I'm talking the Grant Morrison run, the Mark Waid run, Jeff Johns, Chris Claremont, Joe Kelly, even the shitty Chuck Austin stories, the Gods of Pain, or Pain of the Gods, or whatever the hell it's called. I want all of it. 1 through 125, the 1 millionth issue. Prometheus, the Villains #1. JLA Wildcats 1. Secret Files and Origins 1 and 2, 2004. JLA World Without Grown-Ups 1 and 2. 1 million, the actual DC 1 million event that Grant Morrison wrote, 1 through 4. JLA Titans 1 through 3. In a Perfect World, yes, JLA Avengers 1 through 4. Action Comics 775. JLA Classics 1, 2, and 3. JLA Earth 2. JLA 80, Page Giant #1, JLA Heaven's Ladder, and the JLA JSA Virtue and Vice. And then probably some excerpts from Aztec, the series that Grant Morrison did, explaining who he is before World War III. But yes, God, just to own all those with a nice little collage on the spine. See, this is the shit I think about all day. Now, before we get to the number 1, some honorable mentions. Obviously, Preacher, right? I mean, we got absolutes. Why not an omnibus? But the first thing I want to mention is Starman. How the hell do we not have Starman collected in proper format? We have those 6 omnibuses that aren't really omnis. They're just hardcovers. But to have just 2 Starman, probably my top 5 favorite comic book of all time, collected in 2 omnibuses, that's all it would take. And you could even throw the Shade in there, the Shade miniseries that was never collected in hardcover format, by the way, DC. Thanks. Also, honorable mentions, of course, Fables, Red Robin, the Stephanie Brown Batgirl. I got a lot of slack for that because I guess people really enjoyed her more than Cassandra Cain, huh? Robin, the Tim Drake stuff before he became Red Robin. Astro City, Legion, the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning Legion. And even the Mark Waid stuff was solid. And then, of course, what I said, Batman post year 1, and just keep going all the way until Flashpoint. Like, that's what I would like. And then Booster Gold. Gotta throw my boy Booster in there. The Jeff Johns, the 52 pickup stuff. Love that stuff. But let's move on to number 1. Those were just honorable mentions. They would have made the list if I had done a top 50. Number 1, Superman, the Triangle Years. You know what I'm talking about. You kick it off with John Byrne's Man of Steel miniseries 1 through 6. Then you throw in, I mean, everything. Now, I mapped this out because I actually have, if you've seen a tour of my collected editions before, you know that I've got the custom bounds over there. And those all take us to the death of Superman. Now, I mapped these out to tie in with the new printing of the Death and Return of Superman. So, we kick it off with John Byrne's Man of Steel 1 through 6, Superman 1 through 72, and annuals 1 through 4, Action Comics 583 to 683, or I'm sorry, 585 to 683, and annuals 1 through 4, Adventures of Superman 424 to 494, annuals 1 through 4, Superman Man of Steel 1 through 17, and annual number 1, World of Krypton 1 through 4, World of Smallville 1 through 4, World of Metropolis 1 through 4, Superman the Earth Stealers, Lex Luthor the Unauthorized Biography, Doom Patrol 10, Starman 14 and 28, Booster Gold 23, Superman Special number 1. I know that was written years later, but it was supposed to be meant for this time, for an annual, I think. Legion of Superheroes 3738, Legion 90, annual number 2, and Superman for Earth. That takes us all the way up until the new printing of the Death and Return of Superman. I realized that I completely on purpose avoided Exile, but that's just in the hopes that in my perfect world they redo all these Superman mappings to take us there. But that's what I would collect. Now that is my top 10, or my top 30, I guess. Let me know in the comments down below what your top 30 are. Like I said, I will share this list on Facebook and Instagram, and you all can free to comment there. And if you haven't joined us on Facebook or Instagram, please do so. That's at NearMintCon. Check out our Redbubble shirt. I've said that already. Check us out on Patreon if you enjoy the content of this channel and want to support the channel. That would be really awesome. We have a lot of stuff in there, like early access to videos and things like that. And let's see what else. I really suck at signing off, like badly. This is why I always need a co-host. Hit that like and subscribe button. Notifications, did that. Redbubble, threw that in there. Twitter, that's it! Remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.